Good morning friends and welcome to the pre-market view. US markets were marginally up about 0.1% odd. The concerning fact is that the 10-year bond yields in US have spiked up to about 2.75 and a lot of debate is going on about when exactly the tapering could begin, and the estimates are that it could happen a little earlier than what the market was expecting because of the better set of data, but the opinion is divided, so there is going to be some amount of debate for next probably couple of months before we get a clearer picture about the timing of tapering. European markets were also marginally up, anywhere from about 0.3 to almost about 0.69%. No major data points to look at. And when we look at the Asian markets today morning, most of the markets are up. Nikkei is up almost about 1.7%, and Hang Seng is in fact down 0.84%. Also from China, we are expecting a major economic policy announcements after a meeting of about 3 to 4 days. So that is something that the market will be watching out for. Also importantly, in Japan, the yen has depreciated to almost about 99 against the dollar, which is helping the sentiment. Also, we had a trade data that was much better than expectations. So we are seeing that though the Japanese markets is showing strength, the same trend is not visible across Asian markets, and our own markets continue to display weakness for the past about 4 to 5 trading sessions. One of the concerns is that the bond yields have actually spiked up to almost about 9% and they closed at about 8.95, which is definitely a matter of concern. Secondly, we have seen increasing selling in the index futures by the FIs for the last about 4 to 5 days. So in yesterday's market also, FIs were net sellers in the index futures to the tune of almost about 535 odd crore. In the cash market, however, they were biased to the tune of about 334 crore, and the domestic institutions were sellers to the tune of 783 crore. Other important fact is that we are going to have two important data points coming out today. One is the CPI number, which will be announced today evening at about 5:30. Also, IIP data is going to be out, so the market is expecting that the IIP data would be slightly better. As in the last month we had some indications of revival. Overall, the markets continue to remain sluggish and they are not participating in any kind of up move that we are seeing globally. So we think that this month is going to be a little tricky, and 6200 is going to be a sticky strike which will be difficult to surpass. But at the same time, I think there is not a case for too much of a downside in the market given the kind of technical levels that we are working with and the kind of implied volatility that we have seen in the puts. So we think that the market could remain broadly in a range of maybe 5900 to 6200 for this month, but next month we feel that there is a case for a good rally in the market. On that note, let me invite Sadhna to take us through important F&O cues and ideas that we could have from the F&O side.
Good morning friends, let's have a view on derivatives. Yesterday markets turned out to be very volatile as markets failed to trade in positive terrain and finally snapped the session with a loss of close to 1%. In this period we have seen that 5.15 lakh shares were reduced in open interest and Nifty futures premium increased from 45 to 48 odd levels, indicating short positions were squared off by market participants. And in yesterday trade, FIs also were net sellers of approximately 270 odd crores. And if we talk about PCR, it has come down from 1.04 to 1. It is indicating call option has added more number of shares than put option. It is clearly visible in the options activity as we see 6,300 call option stands with highest number of shares in open interest, as we see 51 lakh shares are there in open interest, and on lower side 6,000 put option has seen highest number of shares as we see 45 lakh shares are there in open interest. And if we talk about implied volatility, it is increased by 2%, and as we are trading below our weekly VWAP of 6260, overall our bias for the market is negative and we may see intraday whipsaws in today's trade. From intraday perspective, Ultradex Cement is looking weak. One can go short with a stop loss of 1935.45. Thank you.
Here are the important news and events that we are tracking today. First of all, the companies that will be announcing numbers. Hindalco, we are looking at a net profit of about 385 crore. Reliance Capital, we are looking at a net profit of about 138 crore. Reliance Communication, a profit of about 118 crore, and in case of Tata Global Beverages, we are looking at a net profit of about 142 crore. Today we are going to have two important announcements with respect to IIP. which would happen post market around 5:30 p.m., where the expectation is about 3.5% versus about 0.8% kind of a growth last year. We've seen some revival in the industrial production data for the past couple of months. So if this number is around 3.5%, it would be definitely viewed positively. Also, CPI data, consumer price index data, would be out, and there the expectation is that it's going to be about 9.9% versus about 9.81 that we had seen last month. So this is definitely going to be a worrying sign, and if this continues to remain at a higher level, then we would have increasing possibility that the rate cut may not happen. In fact, there might be a rate hike in the next credit policy meet. In a bid to avert the yields from going up, which have already spiked up to about 9%, the RBI has today allowed SEBI registered FIIs and the QFIs to invest in the credit enhanced bonds up to a limit of about $5 billion. And 4 of the ultra mega power projects involving the solar projects have been cleared by the center. Total investment in these projects would be about 90,000 crore. Gillette is looking at doing an OFS to comply with the SEBI's minimum public holding criteria, and this offer will be worth about 550 crore. And the Navi Mumbai airport, most of the hurdles have been cleared, so this is going to be basically streamlined now, and the work at the project could start very soon. The Supreme Court has allowed the SESA Goa to e-auction around 11.46 million tons of iron ore, which is definitely a bit of a positive for the company. And the court has also said that it would set up a panel to decide on the cap for the Goa's iron ore output, and this should submit an interim report by February 15, 2014. So on that particular matter, we have not had any clarification, but a minor relief for SESA Goa. Coming to the stock specific ideas, Reliance Power's progress in the second unit of the Sasan UMPP is on track, and one can really go long on Reliance Power with a stop loss of 72 and a target of about 77. And Corporation Bank came out with a bad set of numbers, and the net profit dropped almost 96% to almost 15.5 crore because of the higher provisioning and the higher NPLs. So one can short Corporation Bank with a stop loss of 307 and a target of about 291 to about 284. Coming to the Alpha Delivery ideas, we have released a new idea yesterday. The stock is Bank of Baroda, where the current market price is about 588 to about 600 range, and we are looking at a target of about 735 rupees. Let me quickly run you through the key arguments. The key argument is that the results which Bank of Baroda has reported are quite okay compared to what most of the other PSU banks have reported, and the stock has corrected almost about 10% from the top. And we think that since the numbers were a little better than the market expectations, and the management also has indicated that in the next quarters the slippages of the NPLs are going to be less, and that is definitely a good news for Bank of Baroda. We are valuing the stock at about almost 1 time FY15 price to book, and we continue to prefer Bank of Baroda among the most of the other PSU banks due to higher capital adequacy ratio of about 9.25%, a higher return on assets. On most of the parameters it's doing better, and the stock, as I said before, has corrected quite sharply by almost about 10 to 15%. Coming to the technical update on stock, if you look at the charts, it's been taking a support around this rising channel, and after a sharp correction, it's very close to the level of about 570 or 550 levels, which we think would be an important support for the stock. So it makes sense to accumulate the stock for a much bigger upside to about 700 plus. That's it from all of us, friends. Have a great trading session, and see you tomorrow at the same time.